Hello, we're back in Canada in British Columbia, and we're currently living at Carl's parents' basement suite. And they have a beautiful food forest on 0.29 acres. And so we want to do a little tour. They're currently pulling garlic, so let's go check it out. Oh, here's Lori and Paul pulling garlic.
Hey, Alicia. Hey, Carl. Yeah, garlic season.
Wow, let's go take a closer look.
Yeah, we wanted to do this in the morning because it's going to be a scorcher today and we're going to need to water, and we don't need any more water on these garlic bulbs.
So then you guys bring them to a certain area to dry?
Yeah, what we do, we get most of the soil off right now. We have them growing in some organic straw on top of some great soil, and we've had a great
Garlic year? They're really big, those bulbs.
Yeah, they are. They're really huge. And so then we have a pergola over there that's sheltered from the sun, and it's in the shade. So we're going to dry those for a couple days and then hang them in there for 2 to 3 weeks. I think we planted about 150, hey, Paul?
Yeah, it was something like that. Whatever was on the work order.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul's got quite the long work order. But
So-
I can show you. I'm heading over there right now.
Okay,
so.
yeah. Let's go to the garlic drying station.
No, I'll stay here. Don't.
Okay.
Oh, good. You guys carry on. I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Okay, you keep working.
Yeah, so here's our pergola, which is kind of our barbecue station too, and just a gathering spot, but it works perfect for this time of year for drying the garlic. And so we have a couple pieces of wood that we just string with some straw, and then they'll just hang there out of the sun. Yeah, in about 2-3 weeks, maybe actually in a week, we could start braiding. That would be good because it's a great way to get the garlic into one long strand,
Yeah.
and then you can hang it for the winter. So we have about 150. We usually have enough to last till April of next year. We've lived here for 21 years this August, actually.
Wow.
So
I knew that.
August 20th, something like that, August 23rd, we moved in here, so 21 years ago. So it looked very different back then to now. We've kind of changed things up. Living in the Okanagan was a big change because we have such heat in the summer, and that was a big change for us. So we learned a lot about gardening, and gardening, you need to mulch here.
Yeah.
You have to mulch, and you have to have a good water source to keep things alive. So yeah, so we started with this little patch over here was a little bit of raspberries. So we did actually keep them there, but we added blackberries.
Okay.
So we've always pretty much had that there within the first 5 years. And then we started a little vegetable patch, but it was clay, a lot of clay soil. So that was a little bit of an experience trying to figure out soil. And we were bringing in peat moss, and we started actually in those days with rototilling and trying to loosen the soil, because when it dried out, by August, we would have cracks in the clay, like an inch and a half wide. So anyway, we've kind of gradually expanded the vegetable area. The way our lot, it's only 0.29 acres. It's not that big of a lot. So we had to kind of figure out where we could get the most sun. And this corner had the best area for getting that sun. This year, we put the garlic, 2 huge rows of garlic right diagonally through the center, because we always know that in July the garlic comes out, and then we have a huge area to fill. And then that allows, we sometimes put the tomatoes, this good companion plant to the garlic. And now these tomatoes that we have growing there, which is a Roma variety, which we love for salsa in fall, they're going to get a big blast of heat right now that the garlic's gone. So
Oh, that's nice.
it's perfect for ripening the tomatoes now. And so then in the big area where the garlic is, I've got these tomatoes that we started.
Are these like yellow heirloom tomatoes?
Yeah, they're actually an orange heirloom.
Look at the difference. Compost and not compost.
So
Whoa.
that's the difference with nutrition of soil. It's absolutely
What's the
amazing.
other one? Just dirt? Like,
Yeah,
it looks like there's
this
like,
is a mushroom manure. No, it's a mushroom soil organic blend at the nursery. We had just got
So it is
that.
it is somewhat good soil.
Oh yes, yeah.
this is your
pretty
compost.
much- Yeah, and that's compost, and that's the difference.
Wow.
So there's-
Fantastic.
even though it's good soil, there's not the nutrition yet. It takes a while to get that perfect soil. As we go by here, this is a little herb garden.
Oh, you got some basil.
Basil and sage and lovage and oregano and chives and
Mint.
mint, lots of mint. So we planned to put this here because it's the closest to the
kitchen.
The kitchen, and that's one of the things that I've taken a permaculture design introduction course, and that was one of the things when planning and designing a yard. You want to make it the most convenient
Yeah,
for you.
for
You don't want to
sure.
be walking to the garden herb patch, you know, a half a mile away, just to cut a bit of oregano. So this was our closest spot where we could get rain and sun.
So to the left here we have the raspberries and
Yep.
blackberries.
And the blackberries are along that back.
And I saw that you picked a lot and made some jam and froze some.
Yes, we've done 20 half pints of raspberry jam
Wow.
already. And I've got a pile in the freezer to make some raspberry juice.
And here, what kind of bean is this?
Oh, we're trying a new variety here. This is called a nor'easter bean. Actually, here's one right here growing.
Oh, nice. Do you just steam these or do you have to open it to get the inside?
You can steam them, or these ones you can eat the skin.
Oh, you just eat it like that?
Yeah, you can. You can eat it raw, but a lot of people just prefer it lightly sautéed or steamed. And so we're just trying those. They're seed from Eastern Canada, and they seem to really
Nice.
love the sun. Of course, the north end, they don't do as well, so that's, again, how we can learn of where to put plants. So we've put these tall ones at the back so they don't shade, right? So
rest
that's
of the- yeah.
south and our west, so this is our full sun, so we put our tall things on the back end. So that's why we've got our ladders. So these are garage sale finds where we for a couple bucks you get a big old ladder. I don't know if I would use them for painting or anything, but boy, the plants just love these. So this is a pumpkin going up here, and they'll grow like a foot a day. So we will just continually tie that, and it'll go right to the top. And then these little steps are perfect because as the pumpkins come on, we just let them sit on the ladder.
Oh, that's good because they're so heavy.
They're
I
so
was wondering
heavy.
about that.
Yeah, so then, you just kind of make use of what you can, and you don't have to spend a lot of money for this type of thing. We've got some long English cucumbers also growing underneath
Oh,
here.
they're looking good.
Yeah, and you can put like little bamboo stakes or whatever, and you can use the center of the ladder to get the cucumbers growing right up in the center to use that space. But like ladders, they're just an amazing tool. So if you ever see them at a garage sale,
Buy
do
those
that. And
ladders.
even look at this. This is an antique baby crib spring
Wow.
from 100 years ago, which came from our family. They were throwing that out, and anyway, we've got it here now, and the pumpkins have just found it, and they will be having a heyday on that as they climb this face.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we've got,
Oh, these are patty pans back here?
yes, we've got some patty pans growing there. They don't grow as tall, but they like that location. We had them there last year, so we just kept the seed there.
And why do you choose to have all this hay here?
Well, it's actually straw.
Oh, straw.
It's an organic straw, and this is the mulch I had mentioned earlier that is so critical in this heat to help hold the moisture in. A straw works really, really well. Like you can water these plants because we don't want to apply too much water to the leaves unless you do it in the morning so it can evaporate so that you can decrease mold and mildew from forming on the leaves from overhand watering. So what we do is we just have a hose. We just let the hose run on each plant at the base, and then we put straw all around it, and then that helps to slow down the evaporation, so then you don't have to water as frequently. And then the natural thing with this straw is it's great for soil. So after, when these plants are finished this fall, we just take this straw and we will turn it in with a pitchfork and let the worms finish that off, and then you'll have a nice supple soil and quite nutritious, ready for next year. We also add leaves. If we have a lot of deciduous leaves on the property or we pick up other people's, we also will use that for a mulch. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be expensive. So
Is this the new compost system?
yeah, we've tried a couple things for composting, including when we first started out, we had the black bins.
Yeah.
And that's when we were producing a lot less. So we needed something bigger. So
You kind of rotate the...
yeah, so we're rotating now. So this bin over here, we've sort of ended last Christmas. So last Christmas, we stopped putting that in there, and then as soon as spring came, we just put on a bunch of leaves and some debris, and then that will sit now. And we'll lift it up occasionally, give it a little rotate, but we're not going to touch that because we want to use this soil for next year's planting.
Yeah.
So, and it used to be, you know, over half full, and it's already settled quite a bit. So then this side, we've now started since March, February, we started just dumping here. There was still a bit of snow, and then this is actually, we keep a little bit, this is the compost that it made from 2 years ago. So this is what ended up from all of that. This is a few eggshells still remain. This is a bit dry, but we just have a couple handfuls. And so when we fertilize our plants, it's right here. We'll just take a couple handfuls, throw it on the base of the plant, and continue on. So.
Oh, here I see you have some zucchinis.
Yes, we have some yellow zucchini starting here, and then we have more pumpkins, and we're going to run out of room, but we plan to put the pumpkins up this fence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when these pumpkins start going, they're a little later. We had a late start this year. But as those start climbing, we're just going to climb them, and they can sit on this fence.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and so what you're standing on here is recycled rubber. These mats, I love. Every year I buy one, every spring, and gradually over time we ended up getting enough, but they're so great in a garden because wherever you put your aisles, they're light, you can wash them, they're flexible, and you can pick them up, stack them at the end of the year. If you're into rototilling, you can rototill, and then you can put them down paths again. That's one of the things that I found very, very good. We have a bunch of old boards here that we use too. We have all these Roma tomatoes. These will grow once we've started to prune from the bottom up and go to 12 feet. So we only had some small cages, so we have a bunch of wooden stakes from old projects and building. We're going to be putting stakes in there and tying, and we're hoping that we're going to be picking tomatoes from 10 feet up. So
that'll be nice.
That'll be good, and it'll prevent a nice shade wall from the hot sun. Like this next week, we're supposed to be getting 40 degrees.
Well, I see
we're
here
in a heat dome right now, and the plants can burn, so we have to really be careful. I don't want to burn the squashes. So.
Well, I see here you have some amaranth.
Yes, these amaranth were left from last year, Because once they start, this one's just starting to bloom, and it's also called, another common name is Love Lies Bleeding. So we just had a little kind of area that we didn't know what to do, so we just quickly threw in some potatoes, and we've just re-hilled them and did a bit of pruning, and yeah, it's not a big crop, but it's good enough for us, and it's always fun in fall digging up potatoes. So then we, over here, we have a pawpaw.
Another one.
Yeah,
The
so we had two. One died. We're just trying it in this location. It is going a bit yellow. It might be a little bit too intense with the sun.
And these are the cranberries?
This is more cranberries. Yeah, we had a very wet spring, so we did have a lot of aphids, but that's okay. These leaves did get a bit of...
Oh, my hairs are very good.
Yeah.
So I see you planted some lettuce.
Yes, this has been a really kind of a different year because our spring was so wet, first time ever. So we had a bit of a battle. I always try to put a few marigolds in the garden because the fragrance from them is not liked from many pests. So
That's why.
yeah, so that's really good. So because we've made our yard into a food forest and we're trying to change it and make it a more sustainable and a good balanced ecosystem, of course that attracts insects and birds. So what we've definitely found in the last 5 years is the competition with new vegetable sprouts and quail and the different birds and even ducks. So we have a pond in the yard, so then the ducks come. So the beets are still small for this time of year, but this is the third planting. So I was getting very discouraged, but we kept on going, and I just have to share this little thing that I had to keep the quail off of the new sprouts of beets, and so I got this old shelving from the Reese store, put it up on a couple 2x4s over the seed, and then the quail could walk on top, but they could not eat the
it?
seed.
Oh my gosh.
So that's how we got the germination this time.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So then we got some turnips here. We did put the rows over here. This is sort of a plan just to see how they grow, with the alignment of the sun.
And you got a pear tree?
Yes, we have a Bartlett pear, which has lots of fruit on this year. It really, really loved the rain. And we do, in Canada, we do have marijuana is illegal. Is legal, I mean.
Is legal.
Not illegal. It is not illegal. And so we have a seedling growing here, and we have a bigger one that should produce a lot of bud.
And you guys usually make some butter with it?
Yes, we do. Canna butter, we do, and we also make some oil for drops, tinctures, things like that. So it is a very medicinal plant in many ways.
And I see you got some goji berries over here, which I love eating.
Yes, this ladder's here just because we were gonna, these
Come
grow
check these
so
out.
fast, and we were gonna just tie them and make a tunnel. But yeah, some of the goji berries are, oh yeah, here they are. Yeah, so
Yummy.
they're very sweet, and the birds really like those too. And there's a lot more flowers here, so this is just started to come into ripeness down here, but we have many more. This will be completely bright red in another month.
And they taste really good.
Right. So then we have over here on this pathway, we put haskaps. Haskaps are like a northern blueberry, and we have 4 of them here. This is a gooseberry, but we have 4 here, and they're also loved by the birds. So we end up netting. This is the first berry that usually is ready. It comes ready in June, maybe the end of June this year. And the cedar waxwings love this berry. So it's always a competition of when we can get the net on.
Yeah, because last year you didn't get that many haskaps.
No, we didn't. This year we got a couple more handfuls, but the birds did finish them off. soon as they actually crawl underneath the nets, and so we have to still work on that system. So that's one thing with the permanent agriculture or permaculture, is that you're going to have to leave 30% of your crops to
Wildlife.
the wildlife, because you're trying to balance the ecosystem. So that's all part of it. We want the wildlife.
And here
So-
you have, so this is a gooseberry?
Yes, gooseberries, and they are ready right now. They're so ripe, they're falling off. Right there.
They taste great.
Yeah, they're nice and sweet right now, for sure.
And you got plums.
Yes, we have a prune plum tree that, because we had a lot of moisture, we did have some aphid damage, but from talking to other people in the area, everybody did. So it won't be a big plum year this year, but last year we had a bumper crop, so it all balances out. We also have a Saskatoon in there. We have comfrey plants everywhere throughout the yard. This plant here, comfrey, we have, it's just starting to come into bloom there, but we've cut it back a couple times already, and it's like a cut and drop. It's great. It's a great nitrogen
Fixer?
producer, and yeah, when you put it on your soil for a mulch, it makes great soil. And so we just keep on cutting and dropping around all the shrubs to help the soil. This
Water
is
lily.
what we ended up putting in the yard 3 years ago. This is our second full summer where we've had plants and everything. So we hauled these rocks in one by one, and we dug that trench, and we just have a liner in there. It's about 4 feet deep. So this is kind of a neat thing that you're holding on to, Alicia.
Yeah.
When we were talking about birds dropping seed, like sometimes it's so interesting to observe nature, because nature always wins, and you can always learn when you observe nature. So this sunflower seed is grown between 2 rocks. There's no soil, and it is the biggest, thickest stem, and has the first sunflowers of the whole yard, and it's growing in like almost nothing. So I find that
Okay, I originally thought maybe you planted it here, but it was a dropping.
no, that's sort of our little cleaning area for the pond, but we let it be. Why not?
It's beautiful.
So then we have some bee balm right here. The bee balm this
Oh,
time of year.
there's a
is,
bee?
The fragrance of this flower, the bees absolutely love. Yeah, so they.
They're so cute.
Yeah, early morning for sure. You're going to see lots of bees.
And then here, you're building a greenhouse?
Yes, and a woodshed.
And a woodshed?
We do heat our wood. We have 2 wood stoves. So we go collect wood, and we've been tarping it up all along. So over time, after 20 years, it's like, okay, enough's enough. We've gone through a lot of tarps. So it's time we're going to make a woodshed, and then we decided, why not put a greenhouse on the other side? This side will be a woodshed and some storage, garden storage, because we don't have a garage in our house. So we have to build and try to be creative with where we're going to put things to make it convenient to use. And over there, this is going to be the door to the greenhouse.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, so we've recycled some old doors. The roof's going to go on tomorrow. So we just finished doing 3 coats of stain on here to get ready for the roof line. And then we have just picked up old patio doors, and we're going to put those all around, and 3 sliding doors for the ceiling. Oh, the mulberry. Oh, right.
That's my favorite.
Yes. So this
mulberry.
tree, we're going to
There's one there.
be keeping it pruned down, because of course we don't need it that big, and we're trying to keep our fruit trees. But yeah, so this mulberry tree, we got it as a little stick. It was like this tall. When we were working in the garden, I stepped on it and the twig broke.
Oh.
So I said, oh, it's not completely broken. I'll tape it back together. So I actually came out here with Scotch tape, and I taped the tree back together.
Oh my God.
It healed and it grew. And this is like probably 5-6 years ago now. Yeah, there was about 2 or 3 cups of berries maybe 2 days ago, and now I see there's just a couple of unripe ones. So the birds watch. They love these trees. So you really have to be on your game to be able to pick them. But again, like the fruit trees, we have the comfrey all around.
And a bunch of pine cones?
Yes, I use whatever I can. I don't want to purchase mulch.
Yeah.
Everything that we get in the yard, we just pick up. So I use, these are fir cones. I've got a bunch of pine cones out front. What we did with the water problem here, not having enough water, is we got one of these 1,000-liter totes, which we bought for $100 a few years ago. And it had a product in it that was food safe. So we stuck it behind this great big fir tree. So it couldn't be seen from the house. So this is really neat how this all worked out, because a little old Virginia creeper that started beside this fir tree has now engulfed
Grown.
the entire tree. So it sort of provides a protection from our plastic tote. So here's our roof of our little Airbnb deck, and the rain, on a rainstorm within 5-10 minutes, comes down this little spout into that storage, 1,000-liter storage, and it can be filled in less than 10 minutes on a major storm event. So we're down over 3/4 now. So next rain, I'm hoping to fill that up, and then I can hand water some of the plants that are near that source. And that is free water, and we do not use enough roof water in this area. And it's so important to be able to grow things. So over here is kind of one of my favorite areas, because we planted these cedar trees. We wanted to have a cool area here because this is west, and when it's 40 degrees and the sun's setting, it can be up to 45 degrees. So right behind the fence where it's shady, we started some cedar seedlings. They were just like little when we put them in, and now they've grown so much, and you can even feel the temperature difference walking
Yeah,
up
it's
this
way
pathway.
nicer.
So this is kind of an area that
Things
we
just
were
came up.
told in our course is like, take a little area of your yard and let nature do its thing and just observe what nature does. And so this was my area, and I just left this, and it was just a little cranberry bush, and now it is grown all through here. The only area that I usually maintain is this area here, which is a forget-me-not garden, which my mother had passed away from dementia. So I sort of say that's my mom's little garden. So
Aw.
this is sort of the only one that I maintain. So we have an Airbnb here for guests. It's just a bedroom from our house. So part of our plan here too is just making things aesthetic for our guests. And so we even have herbs here. We have oregano, we have chives, we have mint for some mint tea. Yeah, we've got lovage here. If anybody wants to make lovage soup, it's great, great recipe. This is all lovage. It's about 12 foot tall. In spring, I've cut that back, and it's already coming up.
And this is one of my favorite flowers. You know, there were
Yes.
other ones too, but
This is an elderberry. It doesn't have fruit on this year. We had a really cold December, and it ended up coming from the bottom again. So next year we'll get berries. And to some people, permaculture, food forest design is too busy, too cluttered, and it can be overwhelming because it's not structured. Nature takes care of things in its own. It's not neat and everything in a square box. But so I started with the idea of making a little Zen garden, so it's not so busy and it's quite a lot more calming. We have a bench here from the pergola. We have a little fountain for contemplation, Japanese maple, which will grow a bit bigger to provide a bit of shade. And then just having the stillness of just a small ground cover with not a lot of clutter. just sort of having this small space, it's kind of nice to have those meditative spaces in the garden. Yeah.
And here you have a fairy garden.
Yes, yes.
You're
Started a few years ago. Just got a few little gifts for a fairy garden, and then whenever we have kids come over,
They like it.
They love playing here. So it's kind of nice to have a dreamy fairy space with the gnomes and the elves. I do have a sign that I'm going to put here eventually. So this is a neat part of the yard. We have our neighbors close by here with our chain link fence, so we get the light and air through there, which is nice. It's not a place to grow a lot of fruit. When you have a lot of shade, it's more, you think about the insects, pollinators.
And I like this ground cover as well.
Yes,
Makes beautiful.
creeping Jenny.
Creeping Jenny.
Grows. It's a great ground cover.
This is my favorite little water feature you have.
Yes,
here.
you can see the tadpoles in there.
Oh, wow. They're so cute.
Yeah, we have a lot of frogs between the ponds in spring.
And then through your deck, the front yard, you also kind of converted into
Yes,
a
we
food
did the
forest
front
as well.
yard too. Here's I just want to quickly mention this tree. This is a caragana shrub. It's growing very tall because it's reaching for the light. And this is a magnolia. And these started out very small. We had no idea that it would grow to this size. But the caragana plant is a huge nitrogen fixer. So to have caragana, the roots will give off nitrogen, and it helps feeds everything around it. And maybe that's why this magnolia has just, we keep pruning and pruning it. It's just going to the light. But it's so beautiful in spring. April, the flowers come out, and it's absolutely gorgeous to sit on the deck and watch those flowers. So this deck we ended up building just a few years ago. We always sat out here
working.
with patio furniture.
I just
get-
the hazelnut out.
So we had just some patio plastic furniture out here, and every time it rained or snowed, we always had to make cover and take things inside, trying to protect things. And said, you know what, we need a covered roof. So we ended up having a couple friends that lived on our street that had experience working with log, and they were builders. So they came and helped us with this project. And now this is outdoor living. Like, we use this all summer.
amazing.
This is like our living room and our eating area all summer. So yeah, so then we have our front yard,
With the
which is a lot
raspberries.
smaller than the backyard because we are in front of a road. Yes. So of course there's always work to do on a farm, the big little farm. But these are raspberries, and the reason why we put some out here, even though we have them in the back, is because it is a companion plant to this Carpathian black walnut. So we started this little tree, I think it was 12 years ago, 10 years ago, and we get 30, 40 pounds of walnuts off of this every year.
It's amazing.
And so because it has the juglin chemical produced from its roots, and there's a little bit in the leaves for the litter, you can only grow certain plants around the black walnut. And of course, it's a great shade tree, and it produces food, and walnuts are expensive. So it's one, if you have room and it grows tall, so you would put it at the north end of your property for a backdrop, and then you can get a lot of food. This plant right here, we have 3 of them. This is a sea buckthorn.
Oh, wow. That's great to make oils.
Yeah,
Like
sea
for the
buckthorn is
skin?
very medicinal. There's no berries on this one right now. They're orange berries, but incredible amounts of vitamin C in them. So I've just pruned this all off because it was out of control, but it'll produce again next year. We started with 1 row of raspberries, and look what happens when nature takes over.
I love that you have the white raspberries because I never had seen them till I came here
Yes.
or
there's-
tried them. Look at this one.
Yeah, just pick that off.
Look at that one.
Yes, they're so sweet. Yeah, we're on the end of the end of picking.
There's lots of raspberries. Well, some of them are
Oh
dry.
yes, I picked last night, and look at they're already ripening. The remainders.
Yummy.
Yummy. I really find nature amazing because we did not plant this ash here at all. It was dropped. It was dropped by a bird. It started growing. We left it. The next thing you know, it's a tree. And I've even been pruning this to walk through, and it grows like 2 feet a year.
Can you do anything with these?
Well, those berries they turn bright orange, and then the birds eat them in the winter. But we don't.
They're not edible, like for humans?
I actually don't even know about that type of tree for the berries, but I know we have seen the birds in winter eat those. And this is echinacea. It's another herbal. Great for teas.
It smells good too.
Yeah, so right now, this time of year, everything's out in bloom. I've fallen in love with roses, so now I'm turning this area into rose garden because we love to have the flowers in the house. This is another currant.
Oh.
This is a pink currant. I don't know if you've ever tried these.
Oh, wow. Here, look, Carl. On this angle.
Oh.
Oh, oh my gosh, they taste really...
These are really sweet. I think it's called the pink currant.
They kind of
Is it
taste
pink
like
or white. I can't remember which.
like rose.
Yeah, they're very. Yeah, aren't they sweet?
Wow. Okay, these ones. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Of course, I also cut bundles of lavender, so I have lavender throughout the yard, and it's also another bee. There's a bee full of pollen right now.
I love it when they have their pollen.
Yeah.
It's so orange. Look at his bum. He's holding it on his legs.
We got this plant one Easter from a friend. It was just a little tiny lily. We threw it out in
So
the
good.
yard, and I don't even know why we put it here, but it's growing here. But it is absolutely magnificent, and the fragrance. What does it smell like, Alicia?
I don't even know how to describe it. Sweet.
It smells like stronger than a bar of soap.
Yeah, like you can
Sweet.
smell the fragrance from like 3-4 feet away. It's just amazing.
Almost like, what is that essential oil? Like a little bit like ylang.
Oh yeah.
It smells a bit
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, so this garden we started, we did a bit of reading on xeriscaping in the Okanagan, so plants that use very little water. So this, I just actually ended up clipping this. It's a Carl Forster grass because the seed heads, when we had all our rain, ended up falling over from the weight. So I've actually just recently trimmed that back because they do grow very tall. And this is one of my favorite grasses. It's the biggest grass, the tallest grass that can grow in Canada. It's Giganticum. I can't remember the Latin name, but the variety is Giganticum, and it grows 12 to 14 feet tall, and it's very similar to bamboo. This is the driveway we have, as I said before, our Airbnb guests, and so they can park here.
The Forest Loft Suite.
The Forest Loft Suite, yes. And we ended up putting lilacs here. We had to build up a wall because the sun from the west here gets so incredibly hot. Like
Yeah.
it will burn the leaves of plants.
So
So
this is amazing. I love this little area.
yeah, so this is our entrance into the yard. So we don't have from our building to our property line,
Grapes.
which is an orchard, an apple orchard right next to us. There's advantages and disadvantages of being next to an orchard, but this one is not an organic orchard, so we do love the flowers in spring. So yeah, grapes. We have Concord grapes here.
You see, Carl?
Yes, they're
Look
all
at all the
forming
grapes.
right now. It's a great.
Look here.
There you go.
Lots of grapes. Not ready yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a loaded year. We had so much rain this spring that the berries.
It's
and
going to be
grapes-
so good.
Yes, lots and lots of grapes. Grape juice, grape jelly. Yeah, so then we come back into the backyard here.
Finish off at the Airbnb deck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We can take, yeah, our guests just left this morning, so we're just doing it clean.
Here's another little path where I really like that curly, what is it called again? Your curly tree there?
Curly willow.
Curly willow. It's my
Willow,
favorite.
yes.
Beautiful branches.
Yes.
So if you want to stay here, it's on Airbnb, Forest Loft Suite. Let's go check it out.
Yeah, and it was just really interesting. This used to be the master bedroom of the house. And then we got rid of a carport and we made that into our bedroom on the main level. And so we had this extra bedroom, which had like a small patio here. So then later on, after our 3 kids moved out of the home, we decided to make this into part of our business. So, and it's worked out great. You know, we had everything there. We had to do some adjustments, of course, and we're constantly changing and improving. Right now, we have the pond to look at. There's lights at night that come on, and it's just a great place to read and have a glass of wine and just watch the birds and the wildlife. We have a lot of wildlife here.
But thank you so much for showing us your tour of your food forest.
You're very welcome. That was awesome. Thanks for showing an interest.
Yes. Well, Carl and I we're renting the basement suite, and obviously Carl grew up here since 6 years old. How old were you?
7.
7?
Yeah, 7, 8.
2001.
So let's turn it around to see Carl with his mom.
Oh.
Okay. Hey, Carl, the resemblance.
Oh, mom and Carl.
Oh, my hat. My hemp
Okay.
hat. This is the hemp hat.
Yeah, I know. It looks familiar. See?
Do you have any words, Carl, to say? You love your mom and
Yep.
dad?
That was a big tour. Okay. So hopefully we'll get this on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. Bye for now. Almost the size of a softball.
Official softball.
Official.
Those are big garlics.
Wow. And we almost forgot to show you the Nanking cherry over here.
It's such a beautiful plant, and they're ready for picking.
Look at that. Let's get this one. Nanking cherries.
Hold on a sec.
Let's eat one.
Oh,
2 little seeds. Throw it back in.